G'day guys, I'm Tip Under here and welcome back to another video. This is another one from my trip away. So last night the Lions played the Maori All Blacks, which was sort of declared the unofficial fourth test. I think the Maori All Blacks were expecting to play a bit better, to raise the game a bit more than they did. Then in the end they lost 32-10. The Lions were very, very good, very clinical, very structured, didn't allow the Maori All Blacks to sort of play the way that they wanted to play. So yeah, they kind of strangled the life out of them. I think the performance on the whole was good. I think the team looked a lot more settled than it has done all tour. It was a very, very good team. We're not going to go through the whole game, just a few little points about the game, and then also moving forward, what sort of team selection they're going to look for in the first test. And there's one more game between now and then against the Chiefs, so that'll be a tough one. Let's start with, I think, the biggest sort of talking point at the moment for this tour really is Johnny Sexton. He was brilliant. He was very, very, very good. And the talk at the moment is who's going to be that 10, who's going to be a test 10, it's going to be Sexton at Farrell. Well, I'll tell you what, Sexton certainly put his hand up based on this last performance. He was really good. There's a comment in my last video, Fiery White Celt. You've been a bit of a viewer for a while now, and you mentioned about the fact that the media have been pretty biased against Sexton, and sort of commentators as well have been biased against him, and they've been for Farrell. I kind of agree with you there. I think Sexton's been a bit hard done by. He didn't have the greatest start to the tour, however, he's really, really improved. And from the reports that I read this morning from the game last night was that they still believe Farrell will be 10 if he's fit, even though Sexton had a brilliant game. I would like to see Sexton at 10, Farrell at 12, and Dave at 13. The other possibility maybe Ben Teo at 13, but that hasn't been tried, so I doubt that's going to happen. But it wouldn't be a thing that I'd be against, certainly. But Jonathan Davies was also very good last night. But yeah, I still think Sexton's getting a bit of a tough time of it, a bit of a hard rap. Up front, Lions were solid, strong. They were good around the park. I think a few times they tried to force that final pass when they probably should have held on to it. I think if you make mistakes like that against the All Blacks, they'll punish you a lot more than the Maoris did last night. So I think just forcing that final pass, I think needs to be cut down a little bit. Another thing that I noticed is Ben Teo made a really, really good break in the second half. He got through, I think, to about the 22, and then after the next sort of 4 or 5 phases, the Lions were pushed back to the Maori 10-metre line. So they lost a fair bit of ground. You compare that to what the All Blacks would have done in the same situation. If the All Blacks had made that break, they would have then shipped it maybe 2-3 channels wide, maybe to the right. I think there was open side to the right, and probably would have scored in the corner. The Lions didn't do that. They didn't take advantage of that, and I think that's sort of this Northern Hemisphere almost fear coming through. I think they need to just believe and take advantages of the opportunities that they get. Doug Howlett made a good point in an article I read from him a few weeks ago for the Northern Hemisphere teams against a Southern Hemisphere teams. Obviously played Northern and Southern Hemisphere rugby. Southern Hemisphere rugby, they concentrate on what they are going to do to beat the opposition. So how they are going to play their game to win. Compared to Northern Hemisphere sides where he said Northern Hemisphere teams concentrate on how to stop opposition sides. Rather than how they're going to win, how they're going to stop the opposition from winning. I think that's a good point, and I think the Lions need to focus on their game. There's no need to worry about what they think the All Blacks are going to do in certain situations. They need to try and work on their strengths. And I think that break is a prime example of the opportunities that they are going to need to take against the All Blacks. If they don't take those sort of opportunities, they're going to have a long 3 games against the All Blacks. They need to be scoring those sort of chances. But I think they'll be very happy. I can't imagine there'll be a whole heap of changes. Players like Sean O'Brien played extremely well. I think he should probably start the first test. Omani at blindside, I don't know. For me, say Justin Tipuric, I think, instead of Omani. Falataz got it nailed down at 8. Second row, Itoje was very, very good. I thought he was way on the pecking order, but actually he was really good. And I think he might have just shoved Alan Wynne-Jones out of that team, and maybe Cruz and Itoje in that second row. Maybe Wynne-Jones on the bench. Itoje is just all action. He's all action. Conor Murray and Sexton I want to see as 9 and 10, and I wouldn't mind seeing, say, Ben Teo and Davies at 12 and 13. The reason I say that is because one of Farrell's strengths is kicking, his tactical kicking and his goal kicking. Sexton's got a solid enough kicking game. Conor Murray's a very, very good kicker. And Lee Halfpenny, who would probably be fullback, is an exceptional goal kicker. So that's all bases covered. Sexton plays a lot flatter than Farrell. He brings people into the ball a lot more, which I think is what they're going to need against the All Blacks. If they have Ben Teo, especially if they have Teo, and they have Davies at 12 and 13, there's no point in giving deep ball to them. They need to give them flat ball on the game line. So I think that's where Sexton has a bit of an advantage. He's a bit more of an all-rounded player than Farrell at the moment. The only problem with that, though, with, say, having someone like Ben Teo at 12 instead of Farrell, is I don't think it gives your outside backs enough space or enough time. So I think Anthony Watson didn't see enough ball with an open space because he was getting it directly from Farrell or from a fullback from a behind-the-line play. And I don't even know who the other winger was. Didn't see much of the ball. Elliot Daly came on in the end. He wasn't on for long, but they're getting the ball with about a meter's worth of space, and they're getting almost standing still. So that's why I kind of see Farrell at 12 would bring those wingers into the game a lot more and a lot sooner. And Anthony Watson, he just needs a little bit more space, and he's away. That's the only real advantage I'd see of having Farrell in at 12 instead of Teo. Physicality as well is another thing, but Farrell doesn't miss a lot of tackles. Anyway, guys, what are your thoughts on the Lions team? I'm going to make another video about the changes and the replacements they've brought in. There's been a lot of sort of talk about that, but I think that'll be one for another video, maybe later today. Give your thoughts, guys. How do you feel about it? How do you feel the tour is going at the moment? Any comments? Great appreciated. Give it a like, subscribe if you like, and I'll see you later. Cheers.